Call our special school board meeting public hearing for our textbook adoption to order. I'm also going to forego the pledge and the moment of silence until our regular meeting, since we've already done it once this evening. Is there anybody with public input that's not related to this topic? Okay, then we believe it's appropriate to move to the hearing portion. So, Mr. Johnson?
I guess I'm going to read the whole thing. Yes, Madam Chairman, the first item before the board is item 3.01, a public hearing to allow public comment on recommended instructional materials for mathematics grades K to 5 and McGraw-Hill Reveal mathematics grades 6 to 8 with Math Nation, Florida's BEST mathematics grades 9 to 12, Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2 with Math Nation, Florida's BEST. Mathematics 9 to 12, additional courses with Savas Learning Company, LLC. Math for college, algebra and trigonometry, pre-calculus honors, data and financial literacy, thinking quantitatively, communicating with numbers, math for college, liberal arts thinking, mathematically agile minds, Educational Holdings, Inc., Algebra 1A Intensified Math Volume 1, Algebra 1B Intensified Math Volume 2, Mathematics Advanced Placement with AP Statistics, BFW, The Practice of Statistics, 6th edition, AP Calculus Cengage, Calculus AP 11th edition, and AP Computer Sciences with Savas Learning Company, LLC, Computer Science and Overview 13th edition. If there's anyone here this evening that wishes to have public comment on this item, please come forward to the podium at this time. Madam Chairman, I don't see anyone coming forward and believe it appropriate to close the public hearing portion.
Okay. I know that you had some questions, Mr. Dodd, so if you want to ask those questions now, I think that'd be appropriate.
Sure. Yes, thank you. Yeah, so now that we've had a little time to kind of peruse the resources online, I did kind of have a question about, in particular the elementary math. So I saw, unless I've overlooked it, it seems like the 3rd and the 4th grade have a regular version and an advanced or accelerated version online. They both seem to be about the same length in text, so I'm not quite sure if are we using one or the other, or I don't know which one are we buying? Are we buying both, or do you distinguish? I don't know who the best one. Oh, Ms. Cockcroft must be. All right, very good.
Honestly, I will have to get back to you on that. I do not know which version we're purchasing tonight, unless Tracy knows. The regular version.
Regular, not the accelerated. Mm-hmm. Okay. Which, and then I guess I was kind of wondering a couple things. One, why did they produce it for 3rd and 4th, but nobody else? I don't know. But then that kind of led me into thinking about middle school. So thinking about an honors course versus a traditional course, is there a separate text for those, or do both courses use the same text?
Algebra 1 has an honors text in middle school.
All right.
Yes. Making sure. Yes, I don't want to answer incorrectly. Yes.
All right. Very good.
Is that it?
That was it for the questions. I mean, I just kind of still have the wondering. Last meeting, you had brought up some kind of a wondering about ALEKS and its role in math classes, and so that's just one I just kind of continue to wonder about. Because since that meeting, I've just kind of asked with a few folks and a few students out there going, are you using your text, or is it mostly ALEKS? And I'm hearing a lot of, we basically just use ALEKS, and so that, when you said, is ALEKS the text, that just has continued to resonate in my mind just as a wondering, and so that's just one that I continue to think about, and I don't really know what the question is or the answer is to that question.
I don't disagree with you.
I don't know. It's just, yeah, you were right on by bringing that point up.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know what the question is either, except that among our middle schools and our high schools, what would be the expectation for the use of ALEKS? Maybe if somebody wants to speak to that, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think that's
Is
might
that
be-
fair?
Yeah, that's a good summation of the question, I think. What is the expectation? What does that look like? I know parents have contacted me in the past saying my kid has got 300 Alex assignments assigned to him, you know, or
Yes?
I don't know. Maybe this is.
I think, because it's a public hearing right now, I think we would feel like we need more information.
Okay.
Every school and how it's being used, I think.
But it is appropriate to assume that the Alex software is a part of the textbook purchase.
It is not.
It's not?
It's not.
Okay, I thought
But
the
just in
answer was
practice,
yes.
it becomes the text
Got it.
in many schools or many classrooms where they're not using the book that we purchased.
We bought it as supplemental.
Okay. Okay, I thought that we clarified, and I can look back at that, because I'm not in the foggiest or in the clearest of mind states tonight, but I thought I asked at the last meeting about the instructional materials, additional dollars that came out of ESSER 3, and it was used to purchase Alex for the text.
It was in the ESSER funding, which was, yes, in that line item.
For instructional materials, but it's not a
Yes.
part of this adoption. I realize those are separate things, but we are funding it with the supplemental materials through the instructional
That is correct.
materials.
Yes, we did verify that for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do
Okay.
we have just one program? Because I mean, are we paying for IXL too, or is IXL free? IXL isn't free. So there's also IXL, and then there's LAFs and FAFs. So there's multiple programs out there that are being used in our district, right? So I guess my question is, going forward, is this the one series that's going to be used, or are all these resources? Is the intent to continue using all the resources as supplemental resources? Like, what is the intent with the purchase, given that there's all these other supplemental resources out there? I guess that would be the question.
Okay. Dr. Feltner's coming. I know probably to speak just about the requirement of instructional material purchase, but an adoption, but.
So as with any core instructional purchase, we want it to be used as core, right? So as we get further down and we get away from an adoption year, sometimes a lot more instructional, we know that that's the reality of it. Supplemental resources come into play. We are trying to utilize a certain number of programs to supplement. There are schools that have dollars. We do look at the purchases. Like, I think we do have some schools using IXL. We have purchased Alex for all middle schools as a district purchase. And so it's a piece that we'll have to look at, how will it be utilized? But of course, when we pay a lot of money for our core, we want to go back to the core. It's the same thing that happened in ELA, right? So like, we had a lot of different people that would say different resources were their core, and we are now utilizing the core materials and giving those a really good base. And so we want them to use what they choose as the core. But we will have, I mean, we do have things that people do. We do have supplemental resources. We teach kids and not programs. So, but we utilize the programs as our base to start with. So, and not every program's gonna fit the needs of every kid. So we do have to wait and see who the kids are that come to us and what do they need. So while we can make good decisions based on the materials that are put in front of us, we also have to wait for kids and see what they need. So that is how we end up purchasing some of the things for intervention. You know, I know there's an Alex-ish challenge. It's in certain schools. It's not in every school. Other people are just now starting to use Alex, you know, so I can't say I can't paint it with a broad brush.
Yeah, I don't think I dispute the merits of supplemental programs. I mean, I've been in the classroom. I know that the basal is not going to get you 100% of what you need, right? And nothing will on its own. I think just the question is, you know, what happens when the supplemental material becomes the core, you know, and so that just kind of makes me wonder, just at least from the financial investment of, if we're spending millions of dollars on these books and they're just ending up in people's recycling bins, then it makes you wonder why.
I think that you have a really good view right now of how dedicated your CIA department is when we get new materials, to putting those into play and to giving those an honest view with kids. I mean, if you have not seen all of the training, all of the support that we've done with Wit and Wisdom, Amplify, and I can't think of it, I just went blank, and Study Sync, they are working tirelessly at night to provide nighttime question and answers, and we are utilizing it as our core. We spent money on that a year ago, and I think you have a department that's very dedicated to making sure those resources get utilized to the fullest. 7 years from now, it may look a little different, and that's just the truth, you know, but right now, we hope not, right? We hope it's still doing what we need it to do. So I think that you can be assured that the math adoption will have the same type of energy and resource and time, and for people to use it wisely.
I think after, like, knowing the level of implementation of Alex in varying schools across the district, and now knowing that the district has purchased Alex for every middle school, that it might be a little bit proactive to put out the recommended or even district-required uses versus non-uses of it from the lessons we've learned with the schools that have implemented Alex already.
I mean, the same thing happened in this district with iReady. Let's just call it what it is, right? We use maths and laughs. It became our core. It's an intervention program. It's designed to be an intervention. It was supposed to be that way. As it got, like, that's what happened, right? We don't want that to happen with Alex. It is a supplemental piece to help kids work on grade level standards. When they're not getting, it's the extra time or different instruction, right? Let's go back to the formula. Quality instruction is varied, time is varied. Some kids need more help, some kids need it taught a different way. That's what but we want to have the core be the core. And I do think you have a group of dedicated people to try and do their best to make sure that happens district-wide.
And I can absolutely applaud that spirit. Thank you for that. I think that, it's just worthy to have a continued conversation as to what these computer programs look like, and what the expectations are. I know a number of years ago when we were in a tizzy about whether or not we would even renew iReady, Superintendent, you'd put out a management directive on what are acceptable and non-acceptable uses of iReady. And, from that point, we stopped seeing kids assigned homework to go home and do their iReady. And but I think since that time, some of that maybe has creeped back in where their students are required to spend a certain amount of time on iReady math or reading per day or per week in schools. But we've got a very strong Wonders text, so it just makes me wonder. Here's the pun. Why? Why are we driving kids to iReady in some places when already we know from Wonders it's so rigorous and there's a lot of scaffolding that needs to go into that. So.
Are you talking about Wit and Wisdom or Wonders? We don't have Wonders.
Wit and Wisdom. That's
Okay.
right, yeah. They both
I was
start
like,
with
hold
W.
up. If they're using
Wonders is
Wonders,
gone. Wit and
I
Wisdom.
need to know where that's at because
Wisdom. Wit and Wisdom.
they should not be using that.
No,
So
no.
I'm gonna need a name. And they're gonna get a visit if that's the case, so.
No, but Wit and Wisdom. Substitute
Yes.
Wit and Wisdom
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
So again, I think iReady is an intervention piece that we know if kids have some gaps and they are working, we have not banned those programs, we need to use them smartly. I do think you'll see in classrooms, there is a large amount of time devoted to Wit and Wisdom, and there is some still iReady time being utilized for small group instruction and to be able to make sure that their kids are getting what they need. We know kids have not received all of the instruction they need in the last 2 years, and so we also have those types of programs in my expertise have shown to help. They just can't replace, right? So
Right.
that's what we're trying to create. And I hear your concern, and I will make sure that we have some kind of parameters that go out about that.
Yes.
And the shift in our standards that preceded the adoption also drove a lot of that because they saw that the standards were, took them a little bit deeper into some of those particular skills and strategies, and Wonders didn't really provide that. And so they found themselves going to Teachers Pay Teacher and looking for other resources that, we've talked about. You don't need to do that any longer because what you have is a very robust Wit and Wisdom that has all the supplemental, it's got all the supporting texts with that so that they're not having to pull as much of the supplementals as they have previously. So I think that that'll help. You'll see the same thing with math. You have new math standards and now you have a curriculum that supports the instruction that goes along with the standards that you didn't have before either. So I think that played a big part in it.
Thank you, Dr. Feldner. All right, board members, are you okay with foregoing comments? Superintendent, attorney, no comments for this meeting, is that okay?
Oh, I can't hear you.
Are you okay foregoing your attorney comments for this meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, meeting adjourned.